Hi guys, happy weekend. So today is Saturday 12, I believe, August 12th. So I'm back in Bansko, as you can see from my location, and I'm going to create a video for new moon in Leo, but it's going to be more of a mixture of different energies that we've been experiencing in this past week and also this upcoming week, which is when this new moon in Leo will take place on August 16th. So let's just have a little recap then. So last week we started Monday with Sun square Jupiter, then Wednesday Venus squared Uranus. This was the second square of the three. I talk about it in my video on Instagram and also on my previous video that I published on YouTube where I went into depth about these transits. Then Mercury trine Jupiter. Today, when I'm recording this video, Sun is trining Chiron, which is a very positive aspect, which I thought that this is a good energy to put this video out. And then tomorrow we having the Sun conjuncting Venus, the Venus star point. And we start in the next week, leading up towards new moon in Leo, on a positive note with Venus trine Chiron. And this is the second trine of the three. The first trine already happened on June 29th, and the third one will take place on September 23rd. So on Wednesday, we're going to have a new moon in Leo, just as I mentioned. It will happen on 23 degrees and 17 minutes. And depending where you are in the time zone, here in Bulgaria, it's going to happen at 2 o'clock 38 minutes in the afternoon. And a lot of the aspects, once again, that will be taking place during this new moon already were exact, just as I named a few, or will become exact during the week following. So just before this new moon take place, on the same day, we are going to experience Sun squaring to Uranus, and actually Uranus will be squaring this new moon, and just after, Mars will trine Uranus exactly. And then as the day goes on the 22nd, we'll have the Venus square to Jupiter, number 2, Mars in opposition to Neptune, exact, that will happen on the same day. On the 23rd, we'll have Sun moving into Virgo and Mercury station in retrograde. 25th, Mars will trine Pluto, and 27th, we will have the exact opposition between Sun and Saturn, because by then Sun will be in Virgo, and Mars on the same day will move into the sign of Libra. Okay, so that's pretty much what's going on for the rest of the month, but I just wanted to mention it because some of these aspects that I just mentioned that will be happening afterwards are happening exactly on this new moon in Leo. So what is actually new moon in Leo about? Let's just go a little bit sideways before we dive even deeper about into the astrology. So new moon is always a point of conception. It's a rebirth of something. A cycle has ended, so a new cycle is going to begin. And Leo is all about you. It's all about your creative self-actualization. It's about what makes you who you are, the true essence of you, your sun, because Leo is ruled by Sun, and currently Sun is in his rulership in Leo, and this is something very special that happens only once a year when Sun in his sign of rulership is having a new moon, and there of course will be the full moon in Aquarius season. So this is a rebirth of how we want to show up, how we want to be seen by our authentic nature. And I actually would like to bring a spiritual teacher that I keep mentioning in my videos every now and again, Amanda Ellis, because I just watched her last 2 videos, which are so relevant, especially the one before the last when she talks about saying no in a 5D, which is about how people are rushed. Like, we are living in this accelerated society, and it will become even more accelerated because Pluto is moving into Aquarius, and Uranus, as the ruler of Pluto, will move into Gemini in 2026. So everything will become more accelerated, and a lot of us, myself included, and I can share my experience, of course, a lot of us are becoming overwhelmed and burned out, and this is something why I resonated with that video so strongly, because this is something I have been experiencing, which is why I am taking the last week of August off. Like, of course, I still will be creating some content for social media, but I'm not taking any clients because I'm burned out. Like, literally, I have not stopped doing readings like for a long time, which I'm very grateful for, and I really enjoy it, but I really need to recharge my batteries. So there is this continuous FOMO that's going on in our society. As we know, there is always this new thing, this next thing, like God forbid you go to sleep and the next day somebody else did something you wanted to do, and then is all this FOMO going on around, and there's going to be more and more of that. And another aspect of that is this AI, which is also what Amanda talks about, and I really highly recommend people to check out this video because it's so relevant to what we're going through. It's so relevant for this new moon in Leo energy, because as AI is pretty much well, taking over a lot of aspects of our lives, because we pretty much cannot imagine life without technology anymore, because everything is so strongly interwoven. There is a lot of our authenticity is disappearing because a lot of people are using AI for easy life. And this is something that I've experienced myself recently, where I have become triggered in my personal experience, because there was something being written that there was a potential for it to be used for my website. And I got really unhappy about it, because I was like, I don't want anything that is actually not done by me to be representing me, because I'm an Aquarius rising, and I have a lot of energy in Taurus. I have a lot of energy in fixed signs because I'm Taurus Sun. I'm Scorpio Pluto generation, so I have a lot of fixed energy. And for me, yeah, it could be the stubborn Taurus, the stubborn bull that doesn't want to go forward with the time. But is everything that's new, is all of it really better? That's the question. Is all of it really better? And I got so triggered by it, because I really don't like copying. I don't like when well, this is my experience, so I'm not saying this is wrong for everyone, but for me, I had never publish something that I didn't write, like every single, like you can see obviously with my non-perfect English and the grammar mistakes and potentially the commas being in wrong place and punctuation marks being in the wrong place and all that kind of stuff. I write everything, like, which, yes, of course, like there hopefully will be a time where I'll have some help with that, but not to the extent where things that will be representing me will not be my work, because then that is not my Leo, right? And I have Leo on a 7th house cusp, so I need to learn to validate myself before I can get validated by the other, because that's how it works. With the Leo on the 7th cusp house, we are seeking validation external, but it's never going to come because we need to find it internally first. So anyway, why am I mentioning all this? Is because this is pretty much what we are facing in the society, and also with this new moon, because as I just mentioned, this new moon is square by Uranus, and the exact square between Sun and Uranus is happening literally like few hours before. So this is very relevant, because Uranus, of course, is about progression and technology and all this acceleration of everything, but you need to really know yourself whether this is the right thing for you, because it's absolutely out there. But as I keep mentioning in my videos, there is so much stuff available. I mean, there is a limitless amount of information and stuff available out there. But that doesn't mean it's all relevant to you or it's all good for you, right? And that's why I'm in such a awe and honor of Amanda Ellis' teaching, and she's helped me so much over the past 3 years, and I really recommend her work and people to check it out. Her latest video was about these fires in Maui, which is very unfortunate. And me myself, I had been to Maui, I had been to Lahaina, and I loved that place. It's so beautiful, and I'm sure it will be rebirthed in the divine timing. And it's really heartbreaking that these things are happening all around the world with the weather changes and all this kind of stuff that's in the air right now, without going into depth of all sorts of theories. But I have my own standpoint on that. But anyway, what I want to say is all this fire that is currently present in the charts, because as I mentioned, since the new moon in Cancer, the energy has shifted from after that energy has shifted, but because the nodes moved from the feminine sign of water and earth into masculine sign of air and fire, and the north node, which is the evolutionary potential, it's in a sign of Aries, which is the fire, even though the ruler is currently in Virgo, which is telling us all about discernment. So there is a lot of masculine energy going on in the astrology at the moment. And of course, right now we are approaching a new moon in Leo, which is all about fire. Sun is, Sun is in his element, is very strong. And as I keep also saying, you can cook your dinner with the fire, or you can burn your house. I mean, the fire can be used in all sorts of different ways. So there are a lot of things going on in the world, and they are, as always, as above so below. Everything is reflecting, mirroring everything else. What's happening down here is being mirrored to us with what's happening above, and vice versa, and that's the story. So it's very helpful to see or hear as spiritual teachers to talk about these things, because it gives people understanding of why is this happening, and then there is a bigger picture behind all of it, even though we might not understand it at the time when it's happening, especially if it's happening to us. But what I wanted to bring to everybody's attention once again is it's Uranus that is squaring this new moon in Leo, and Uranus is the upcoming ruler of Pluto. So Uranus plays a very important role, and Uranus is there is Jupiter Uranus conjunction. Jupiter is closing to Uranus. Of course, Jupiter is going to go retrograde on September 4th, and the exact conjunction between Uranus and Venus, Uranus and Jupiter will happen on April 21st next year. So this is again a new cycle, a new storytelling will be created, a new story will be rebirthed. But at the moment there is a lot of culmination, and also we have culmination between Chiron and North Node during the time of this new moon in Leo, because North Node and Chiron conjunction will happen on February 20th. I have to write it down because there are so many dates. Yeah, the exact conjunction between Chiron and North Node will happen on February 20th, because Chiron is in retrograde, and Chiron will remain retrograde until almost the end of the year, until the new moon in full moon in Cancer. So anyway, in other aspects that's happening, like as we know, this new moon is squared by Uranus Jupiter conjunction, especially Uranus, because the exact square between Uranus and Sun happens only a few hours before. And apart from that, there is also a positive aspect, this trine between Chiron and Sun. And Sun is actually, there is a trine between Sun and North Node, and the exact trine between Sun and North Node will happen just before Sun moves into the sign of Virgo. I have it written down somewhere. 19th. On the 19th of August, the exact trine between Sun and North Node will happen. So that's a very harmonious aspect once again. But we can see that there is a lot of tension happening in the sky with this square, and also this opposition between Mars-Mercury conjunction, which is not going to happen exactly until the Scorpio season, but they are in a degree conjunction because there is only 3 degrees between them, and Mercury is by the point of this new moon in Leo, it's in its shadow, because Mercury is preparing for its retrograde, and it stations retrograde on 23rd. As I mentioned, that will happen right after Sun moves into the sign of Virgo. So Mercury will be the ruler of Sun at that time. So anyway, going back to what I just started talking about, there is the opposition between Mercury and Mars. Mercury in a closing phase to Mars. Mercury is the ruler of Mars. Mars is the ruler of North Node. So we're paying close attention to who is ruling who, because the North Node is the evolutionary potential. So Mercury is gathering information, is exalted in Virgo. There is a lot of good work Mercury is doing, but Mercury is going to go retrograde. So there is something Mercury needs to reevaluate and go back over to pass on the information to Mars, even though by the time Mercury will go direct, Mars will already be in Libra, and therefore ruled by Venus, who is the ruler of the South Node. So we can see how everything is bouncing off each other, because there is, this year especially is the transitionary year, where we are shedding a lot of the past conditioning and wanting to enter this new cycle, but it's not available to us fully yet. It's a preparation, because Pluto only dipped its toes into Aquarius only for 3 months, and now it's back in Capricorn, and it's culminating its 15-year transit that started in Capricorn in 2008. So there are a lot of culmination, a lot of closing of cycles. And also, to go back to this Uranus square to the moon, to the new moon in Leo, it's the last square, it's the closing square, the waning square, if you can look at it from the moon cycles, is the waning square, and this is all about crisis in consciousness. So there is this need for shifting perception in order to break free. And that's also shown by the Jupiter-Uranus closing phase. As I mentioned, their exact conjunction will happen in April next year, but they are already close enough to be considered as a conjunction, because in evolutionary astrology we allow 10 degrees for conjunctions. So yeah, this exact opposition. Between Mars and Neptune will happen on 22nd of August, as I already mentioned, but it's already active and it's already present during this new moon in Leo. And at the same time, as I already mentioned, also Mars, as the ruler of the North Node, is making a positive aspect to Uranus. So Jupiter going through the sign of Taurus is helping us to learn the truth about yourself, about your ability to take care of yourself, to be self-sufficient, self-reliant, the truth about who you truly are, and what are your needs, values, and also what is our relationship to ourselves. Because while the North Node was traveling through the sign of Taurus, we had the opportunity to reconnect with all of that, because that's where the attention was focusing on. And now Jupiter is going over that, and Jupiter expands everything it touches. So everything that we had the opportunity to learn from January 22 until July this year, 2023, now we have the opportunity to expand, whether it's positive or negative, that's up to us and our perception and the work that we had done. So Uranus, as we know, have been in a sign of Taurus since 2018 and has been shifting our priorities and breaking us free and having us to understand our capability of to survive, to create whatever we want, because in essence you are the asset. Everything that you need to create whatever you want is within you. Like, yes, we need the tools and all that, as I mentioned in my previous videos, but in essence you are the asset. It's you. And now with the trine between Mars, ruled by Mercury, that is just about to go retrograde, all in Virgo, the trine between Mars and Uranus is actually creating, there is a ground earth trine being created, and it's like this, with the kite, the kite, like, so you have the grand trine plus with the two sextiles on the top. So during this new moon in Leo, there is a kite in the sky, and that's so you imagine you have the Mars, and in opposition you have Neptune, and then between Mars, Uranus, and Pluto there is a trine, which is not exact, but it's already within a degree. And then both Pluto and Uranus are making a sextile to you can still count it, because it's 23 degrees, 27 degrees, and between Pluto and Neptune is 28 and 27 degrees, so only 1 degree different. So there is a sextile between Pluto and Neptune and Uranus. There are all sextiles, and these are all new sextiles, the crescent, the waxing crescent, just when the new moon happens. So this is all about gathering information, about understanding, do I like this, do I not like this, what do I want to do with this. So there is this kite in the sky. So again, this is something that however it looks in our life and however it feels in our experience, it's divinely guided, even though it might not make sense to us, even though what we're going through is challenging and like, why is this happening to me? But it is divinely guided, because there is this kite in the sky, and in opposition to each other is Mars as the ruler of the North Node and Neptune in Pisces. And what is this telling us? Well, Mars, even though he's the ruler of North Node in Aries, and Aries is all about fire and about let's go, Mars is in Virgo. So Mars is gathering this information which we need, because Virgo is the humble sign, is the one where we thought in Leo that, I know everything. But actually then Virgo comes and say like, hey, you don't have any experience. There is something more you need to learn, that more you need to adjust based on what you're learning. And with the Neptune going through the sign of Pisces since 2011-12, and it's going to be there until 2026, Neptune is dissolving that which lost meaning. And we know that Saturn, as the ruler of Pluto, therefore the ruler of the culminating phase of 15 years of transit Pluto through Capricorn, is in a sign of Pisces also. And Saturn is literally dissolving that structure, that definition of reality, that matrix that we believed that was real and was the only way that we could be because somebody else said so. But we know that South Node is in a sign of Libra, and Venus is retrograde, and Venus is conjuncting this new moon, because Venus just made the exact conjunction to Sun. Actually, at the time when I'm recording is tomorrow, but by the time we have this new moon is gonna be 3 days later. So the exact conjunction between Venus and Sun is happening on Sunday, which is tomorrow. And that is a very, very auspicious day. And it's the Sunday 13, and it's the day of the sun. And Sun, that's the day of the sun. Sun celebrates, right? So Venus is in a closing phase during the time this new moon happens. So she had a conjunction with Sun, she's going to have it tomorrow, but at the time of the new moon, it already will have happened. And Venus will be rebirthed. She'll be reborn. There will be this complete illumination, right? And Venus is going retrograde. So at the time when this new moon will take place on Wednesday, on the 16th, Venus will be in a closing phase. She will be in a closing phase to this new moon. And because she is the ruler of Uranus, because Uranus is in Taurus and Uranus is squaring this new moon, what is this telling us? That there is something that we are culminating, something we breaking free out of, something we dissolving, something that is no longer serving us. But in order to know what it is, we need to learn who we are. Like with this, Jupiter in Taurus, like it's expanding everything with regards to what do we believe about ourselves. So there is something that's squaring this new moon. So there is something that is like, in a sense, creating this tension and frustration and potentially anger. But I mean, Mars is still in a sign of Virgo, so it's more like a frustration. It's more like a passive-aggressive kind of anger, because Virgo is not one that is just go and causes a scene, like, yeah, like very unlikely. So this square is representing that there is something that needs to give. Something's gonna give, because there is this desire to go in this new direction. We know that North Node is in Aries, Venus is in Leo, but Venus is going retrograde, so she's trying to, figure out like what it is that we didn't see when it comes to what do we want to do, how do we want to self-actualize, what did we came here to do? Because just because you did something for a long time and it feels comfortable and you know how to do it and it makes you a good money and you're good at it, it doesn't mean it makes you happy, right? And I know for a lot of people that is the case. And now with this new moon in Leo, this is an opportunity for rebirth of how you actually want to be seen, like in your true authentic self, not by AI generated something, like who you actually are. What do you want to create and what do you want that to be expression of you, right? Because even what, in current society, even whatever AI creates, it's a reflection of us. Because we feed it with information, but the information we feed it is an expression of the person feeding it. So that's why with this new moon in Leo, it's like, how do we want to be seen going forward? Like, what is the essence of who we are that we want to shine into the world? Like, shine in your own light that is unique to you, because Leo doesn't copy anyone. True Leo, true king, doesn't copy anyone. It's a king. Why would you go to copy someone else? It's like confident and brave and courageous in a high vibration, right? In a low vibration is different story, but anyway. So we have this square. Then we have this Mars-Neptune opposition. As I mentioned, there is stuff that we are working on, acknowledging, learning, gathering information, getting more tools in our toolbox. Mercury is in shadow. It's going to go retrograde soon until mid-September. And Mercury is going to reevaluate everything again. It's going to, because it's in Virgo, so it's for sure going to do a very good job. And it's opposing Neptune. And Neptune is retrograde in Pisces. And Neptune is the ruler of Saturn, retrograde in Pisces, and Saturn is the ruler of Pluto, retrograde in Capricorn. So there is a lot of going back over things that already happened in order to figure out what got us to this point and whether this is something that we want to take with us into this new cycle that we are entering, for sure, 100%. And and obviously, as I mentioned already, this trine that's happening between Sun, this new moon, and North Node, even though the exact trine between Sun and North Node will happen a few days later, couple of days later, 3 days later, 19th, yeah. So this trine is very positive because whatever it is that is coming to the surface, whatever unexpected situation, shocks, being triggered or being reminded of something that's unhealed within ourselves, this is serving us. I mean, this could be a triggering and loaded word, especially because of what's going on in the world. But in a sense, this is something that is going to support us, or the learning from this experience or the tools that we gather afterwards is going to support us going forward, even though it doesn't probably feel like that or look like that at the moment. But once again, with this kite and this grand Earth trine that is in a place at the moment of this new moon, this is all about grounding and reconnecting with the nature, because this is all Earth signs. And Virgo, in essence, especially Pluto Virgo generation, they really well aware of this. It's like how there is this complete disconnection between ourselves and nature, which is completely illogical and doesn't make any sense, because if it wasn't for nature, we wouldn't be here, right? Like, we wouldn't survive, because we need nature to survive. Like, everything that we have, everything that we need for survival it comes from nature, like in its pure essence, obviously not the modification, the ones which has been interfered with by human, playing God. So yeah, so this grand Earth trine is definitely supporting us to recalibrate and redefine what really matters, like what is really important and what is making us feel really grounded in the positive way. Not grounded as a you did something wrong and you have to be grounded, but grounded in a way that we feel that we have strong roots that are going to support us again going forward. And this is something which I'm working on myself, which is why I'm taking this week off at the end of the month, because I need it. I need to just be. I need to just be with me and ground and go into the nature and have time away from the screen, which is currently quite challenging. So yeah, and Saturn, well, Saturn is now going away from the South Node because they are in different signs. So that's but Saturn in itself is doing a very important work, because Saturn is the ruler of Pluto, obviously. And yeah, there is also a trine building. It's not exact, but it's building up between Pluto and Uranus. So this is really good, because as I said, Uranus is going to be the ruler of Pluto for the upcoming times. So this trine between Pluto, whatever Pluto is, coming up with, as that, bringing to the surface, purging, like, hey, this is dysfunctional, this is what we need to get rid of, because it no longer going to stand the test of time, because Saturn is in Pisces, like time is becoming irrelevant, things are dissolving, and there is this square. And Uranus, we know, Uranus accelerator. Uranus is not connected to time. Uranus is beyond everything beyond Saturn. Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, they don't care about time. This is like something that's happening in different realities, in a sense. So whatever, that's why they say whatever you want already exists, or whatever you don't want as well already exists somewhere else. It's just a matter of time and space, that they have to kind of happen, they have to cross path, like tuning into the radio station, right? But yes, so Uranus making a square to this new moon is obviously doing something that needs to be done in order to take us forward into where we're going. And then this, grand trine that is happening between Uranus, Pluto, and Mars, conjunct Mercury, and Mercury being the ruler of Mars being the ruler of North Node. This is all supportive. So anyway, guys, I think I talked enough about astrology. Let me just talk normal language now and try to just bring it all into the context. So if you look at your life, and if you look at what you're experiencing right now, and I can only talk for myself because I'm not living your life. You live in your life, and you know what you're experiencing, and you know how it feels, and you know what fears are coming to the surface, and you know what makes you happy, what makes you feel excited and passionate about life, and what doesn't. And this is the Leo, right? Like, only you know, like Leo, your sun is shining onto that aspect of yourself that becomes alive when something comes into your experience, right? Whether it's certain person, certain food, certain whatever, because Leo in traditional astrology, the 5th house is the house of fun. Whatever you do for fun, whatever it is, right? Dating, dinners, movies, anything, right? So this new moon in Leo is going to help us to look at these things differently, because Uranus is in Taurus, squaring it, and Taurus is about you, what matters to you, what you think is important. As I said, on a deep level, is the relationship you have to yourself, your like in a self-esteem, because self-confidence is Leo, but self-esteem is Taurus. And your sense of material security. And now Uranus is like there, like, hey, this is going, this is outdated, this is not what we're taking into the future, because this is holding us back. It's Capricorn, it's holding us back. It's the old definition. The new definition hasn't been created, is in the process of being created, because the old one is still dissolving for the next 3 years until 2026. And after that, Saturn will move into Aries. So that will be a very new cycle for everyone, including Neptune is gonna go into Aries. So that's gonna be, I can't even imagine what that's gonna look like. Seriously, I think we just have to experience it and wait, what's that gonna look like with everything else that's gonna be happening in the sky. But going back to what I was just talking about, so whatever method and whatever we thought mattered was very likely not what mattered to us, but what we were being projected onto, South Node in Libra, Venus retrograde in Leo, what we were being projected to believe that this is what mattered, this is your purpose, this is where you're going. And you can't imagine how many times I see in my client chart exactly this theme, that we were born into environment, into certain culture, religion, family, heritage, whatever. And there was this expectation, like with the best possible intention, but there was this expectations that this is what always mattered to our family or to our culture, or based on religious conditioning or whatever outlook on life, it doesn't matter. And then now we feel the restriction of that. Now we feel, in many cases, we feel that I don't know how much further this can take me. And does this make me happy? Because with Leo, it's all about, does it make you happy? Does it make you feel excited? Again, the best way to figure this out. And I think I keep talking about kids all months because it's Leo season and Leo are children. So yeah, it's like literally when you tell kids like, say like, let's do something fun. And they go, okay, what? And then, by their reaction, you can see whether they consider it as fun or not. And this is kind of this new moon in Leo theme, like, is it still fun for you? Do you think this is fun? Do you think this, whatever it is that is playing up, role in your life, whether it's the work, even though I know for most people work is not fun, because this is how the society is structured, that if you do something that is fun, it's hobby, right? It's Leo. It's not Capricorn, it's Leo. It's in conjunction between, wait, let me think. Capricorn is cardinal, fixed, yes, it's in conjunction between Capricorn and Leo, is in conjunction. So so for sure we look, so Capricorn looks at Leo and say, this is not work, this is like, what do you mean? This is fun, this is a hobby, yeah? But we can see in current structure of reality, in current world, how it's falling apart, and the people that are actually thriving are the people who doing what they love, and then they are able to generate what they need by doing exactly that. And more people are starting to do it, even though a lot of people are still in the transition where they're doing what they love, but they still have normal job. Like they still have one foot, in the system, and one, we all in the system, but one foot in the, like I work for someone else who tells me what to do. And then in my free time or whatever, I'm doing, what makes me happy and stuff. But going forward more and more, especially with the Saturn being in Pisces, this will lose meaning. It is losing meaning already, but people will just not be willing to do it anymore. They will just, I don't want to do what doesn't make me happy anymore, because life is short. Because look at Uranus in Taurus, how he's making all these unexpected changes, all these fires or these earthquakes or these tornadoes, all these things that they are like just they just happen. Like like it's not something that we can necessarily, majority of us can predict or something, and they just happen. And then we go like, okay, now that this happened and all these like subconscious trauma and fears are brought to the surface, like what are we going to do? How are we going to integrate this, and what we're going to do? What steps are we going to take? Because, with the Mars being in Virgo, being the ruler of the North Node is the new direction in Aries, like something completely new is beginning, this new cycle. And Mars is in Virgo and is going like, okay, what do we need to do? What do we need to, like, being efficient, being organized, being discerning? Because that's another thing, which is very, very important to understand. Not everything you hear it's true for, like, everything is true and a lie, everything, because most of the things that are going on around are perceptions of reality. That's what I keep saying all the time. There are very few things that are universal truth, very few things. Everything else is someone's perception of reality, which then has been agreed on that, okay, this is also my truth. So then people get together, they decide, okay, yes, this resonates with what you're saying, and it's my truth, it's my truth also. So yes, you are right, you're saying the truth, but it's not the universal truth, because if you speak to someone from a completely different upbringing, completely different environment, completely different values and life experience, they say, no, this is not truth. This is not my truth, And that's why the word truth, like Sagittarius, is mutable. It's very bendable. And that's why this discernment is very important to help us navigate. Is this truth for you? And, it doesn't matter if it's true for everybody else, but is it true for you? And that's why every time we hear all these things and come across all these information that is overloaded, ether is overloaded with that. It's our responsibility. Capricorn, Virgo, there is a trine, right? And as we know, there is this grand Earth trine between Capricorn, where Pluto is, and Uranus in Taurus, and Mars, Mercury conjunction in Virgo. So it's all about discernment, because it's because it requires us to take a responsibility. Like, okay, this is my value, Taurus. This is what I'm discerning based on what matters to me, who I am, like, and obviously your level of self-trust. Because if you don't trust yourself, then it doesn't really have the same effect, right? Because even if you might feel in your body that, okay, this doesn't resonate, this is not my truth, but I don't trust myself, so I'm gonna go and trust someone else, I'm gonna believe the expert, something. And then is the Capricorn is about responsibility, about emotional maturity, and taking being the boss of your life. Just look at these Pluto Capricorn children. They are the example of that, even though they are not mature enough to truly be the boss of their lives, but they try very hard that, no, you're not the boss of me, I'm the boss of my life, even though they're 3 years old or 5 years old or something. So in a sense, we have a lot to learn from them, but obviously they are in that stage of their life, they're not ready to take full responsibility for their life, which is why they need parents, which is the Capricorn, is the protection, is the boundary that keeps them safe and secure. Cancer in opposition. But this grand Earth trine, that's what it's doing, you need to know yourself. North Node was going through Taurus for 18 months. Now Jupiter is in Taurus, it's expanding everything it touches. You need to know yourself. And then based on what you know about yourself and, how you connect it to yourself and your body and your sense of trust, you then, this Virgo, there is a trine. So this Virgo say, okay, now I'm discerning based on what I'm hearing, what I'm experiencing, what I'm smelling, tasting, whatever it is, Taurus, sensory experience, what I'm seeing. And then you discern, is this true for me? Is this or is this not? Because this Jupiter is also part of the square. Jupiter and Uranus are in conjunction, and they are part of this square to this new moon. So it's saying, well, what do you believe? What do you believe? What is your truth? And then that leads to, okay, this is my value. This is my truth. I discern. This is what I want to believe. And now I need to take a responsibility for this choice, because every action has a consequence. There is action and reaction, and it's just standing behind, like, okay, even, if we realize later on the line that, okay, I no longer resonate with this is no longer my truth. But at the time when I made the choice, I did it with a good intention, from the place of, this was my truth at the time, but I had grown. And that's another function of these mutable signs. And the ruler of the North Node is in a mutable sign. And that's what it's saying to us. Also Saturn as a structure of society is in the mutable sign in Pisces. And that's really what it's doing. It's saying, like, well, nothing lasts forever, also like the Pluto, Pluto Scorpio, there is law of impermanence. Pisces is the proof of that. Everything what once begin will once end. And, Scorpio and Pisces, there is a trine, there is a natural trine. So they support each other, because Cancer is like, there is this emotional safety and security. This is the groundwater trine. Emotional safety and security that then leads to the, to the acceptance of the cycle of life and death, which is that nothing lasts forever, because things, come to the point where they want to be rebirthed, where they are outdated and they want to be rebirthed. And that's where Pisces comes in and helps us to understand the totality of the cycle, totality of the understanding that, this is, this is what had to happen in order for this new to be birthed, because universe always fills the vacuum. There is, there is obviously a void in the multiverse, but in this reality, every time that somebody walks away from your life, you meet someone else. Every time somebody dies, there is a new child being birthed. And every time that you let go of some job, there is another one, or opportunity for a different way of self-actualizing. So anyway, so this is again going in all these different branches and stuff. But what I was trying to say with this grand trine that is playing the important play at this new moon, because Mars is trine in Uranus, and Uranus is square in the new moon. So everything is connected here. And it's saying that, okay, we might not know all the answers. We might have felt like, oh, prematurely, I think I'm the king of the world. But I'm taking the responsibility for accepting that, okay, whatever choices I made in the past, whatever I believed in the past was in resonance with who I was back then, you know, and now I grown. Now Virgo, you know, you accumulating information, you discerning, and you taking responsibility for the new choices you're making in alignment with your needs and values, because Venus is in retrograde and Venus is the ruler of South Node, so, and the North Node is in Aries. So now we're looking inwards, we're looking at ourselves, we're looking at who you are and what you want to create. Where do you want to go with this opportunity to have a human experience here on this beautiful planet, which we are, you know, disconnected from and not treating very nicely. But that's why, you know, these things are happening, because it's kind of helping us to reevaluate that, okay, well, you can have all the money in the world, but if there is no nature out there, then what you gonna, you know, like, are we going to eat money? Like, even especially now, there's gonna be no real money soon, like everything is digital, so what we gonna eat? Cables? So it's like, this is a great opportunity, and it goes so much deeper, because Pluto, Uranus, it's beyond, it's like beyond our understanding, it's beyond our conscious mind. You know, it ends with Saturn, and Saturn is in Pisces, so Saturn is like, okay, I'm checking out here, you know, like my function now is to dissolve things and to help you to call the aspects of yourself which you rejected to become whole again. That's what Saturn is doing. So it's like, what do you want from me? Now it's up to you, you know. So yeah, so this is really very deep. And it goes many more layers deeper than just, oh yeah, new moon in Leo, so you might meet a new boyfriend or you might have a new hobby. No, there is much more in play than that. You know, there is a new moon in Leo, which is the opportunity for showing up as your authentic self, but that authentic self is connected to your needs, to your values, to your belief system, to your self-trust, to your responsibility of stepping up and saying that, no, I'm making my own decision. I don't care what somebody else, you know, has behind their agenda and wants to impose on us or something. But yes, at the same time, of course, there always will be a necessity for some kind of moral code and agreed, you know, rules in a sense, but they should be created by the people that are living together and having certain values and belief system. It's not like the same fits all. There is not such a thing. And now, especially with the age of Aquarius and Pluto moving into Aquarius, there's no such a thing that one thing is gonna fit all. Like, no, because Aquarius is about individuation. It's all about becoming truly you, truly authentic you. And that's why Uranus is squaring this new moon, because Uranus in Taurus is breaking us, cracking us open to realize who you individually are and what really matters to you. And that's only that way you're going to find out what you came here to do and what is your purpose and what makes you happy, because only you know what it is. You know, with this new moon in Leo, how do you want to show up? How do you want to be seen? How do you want to self-actualize? By being you. Yeah. So anyway, I think I potentially gave enough background on this new moon in Leo. I might again, I always worry by the end of it, did I make any sense? Like, did what I say, was it comprehensive? Like, did people understand what I tried to bring through and help people to see about this lunation and about these energies that are happening in the sky right now? And like I said, there are some very positive aspects leading to this new moon, which is this Venus. Like today, as I speak, there is this trine between Sun and Chiron. This is very nice because Sun is illuminating in Leo this desire for authenticity and for being truly you, and Chiron is all about going in this new direction. Chiron is ruled by Mars, and Mars is the ruler of the North Node. Chiron is in North Node. As I mentioned, there's gonna be a Chiron North Node conjunction next year in February. I believe it's gonna be in Aquarius season, funnily enough. Actually, did I say it was 20th? So it might be on the precipice of Aquarius and Pisces. But either way, this is really supportive aspect. And then we have the Sun-Venus conjunction. Venus is conjuncting this new moon in Leo. So Venus is telling us what no longer works, what no longer resonates, because of us externalizing our power and allowing other people to tell us what we should want, what we should need, what we should be, the purpose of our life, how we should be showing up. Like, no, this story is ending. Venus is in the closing phase with this new moon in Leo. It is no longer gonna be relevant because it doesn't have a meaning, because Mars as the ruler of North Node is in opposition with Neptune, and Neptune is showing us very clearly what is decayed, what is gone. Like, it's just, even the clients I speak to, and they say, like, you know, I even see it in a chart, and I say, like, probably something that you really loved and it may feel inspired about, and now it just doesn't have any meaning anymore, and we don't know why. Like, I used to love this, and now I don't know why it doesn't have a meaning, because that's the cycle of life. And that's what I keep saying. We weren't born just to do this one thing, be one person. And is for some people, that is the choice that they had made, and it's okay, because that's the experience that they wanted to have. But many people don't want that. Many people love traveling. They loved exploring different cultures, different cuisines, to connect with different people. And I mean, majority of people, I love being in nature and just being free and climbing that mountain or sitting on that beach or whatever. And this is something that we have so little time to do because of the time and age that we're living in, where everything is so accelerated and there is so much pressure and there is so much FOMO and all these kind of experiences that we are having in this 21st century because of technology, because technology gave us the opportunity to make to create much more, to access much more that is within us, and to be much more like faster and efficient and stuff. But on the other hand, we completely lost our privacy, our time, our ability to just disconnect. I mean, it's so hard to even go out without your mobile phone, where you are reachable everywhere you are in the world, right? That's why I tend to not buy a SIM card in new countries where I'm at. Not because, you know, I don't want to be in contact, but by being in contact all the time. Like, you know, when I go out, especially when I'm in Mexico, I never buy a Mexico SIM card, never. Because I only want to be connected to internet when I'm at home and working. When I go to the nature and I want to sit on a beach, I don't want to be connected to internet. No, thank you. So, but it's so hard, and it's getting harder and harder because all this pressure and all this acceleration where, you know, with this, this kite that's happening in the sky, happening between Earth, you know, the grand Earth trine, plus, you know, this pointed towards Neptune in Pisces, there is like this balance that has to happen, this temperance, this balance that has to take place. It's like, yes, absolutely, you know, I definitely would not want to go back and, you know, not have washing machine and fridge and all these kind of things that make our life comfortable. Like I, you know, I'll be the first one to put my hand up, like, no, thank you, I want my washing machine. You know, I like my washing machine. I still remember when I was a child and my mom had the old fashioned one where she literally had to do it with her hands. And, you know, there was just this spinner and she had to, you know, squeeze the water out of it and do it a few times. And it was like a whole day work, and her hands were all raw, and, you know, the skin was crackling and they were all red and stuff. And yeah, no, I don't want to go back to that necessarily. Absolutely no. So there are certain, like, there are a lot of advantages of living in 21st century and having all these things available, which is amazing. But the price that we pay, you know, like, what is the price that we pay for all of that? So that's what I mean. Like, there has to be a balance. Also, the Mars-Neptune opposition it's asking us for balance. It's asking us for the point of integration, that like understanding the totality of the Pisces age, what can we keep that actually holds a meaning and what doesn't? And also living in this new age, what is supporting us and what doesn't? So I feel that's also like background message between this. I mean, it's part of this message of this new moon in Leo. Like, we need to find a balance, because otherwise we're going to burn out. And we are burning the planet already. The planet is burning out and we are burning out, and everything is reflecting everything. Most of the people are feeling overwhelmed. They're feeling burned out. They're feeling it's too much. It's too much. It's too fast. There are too many expectations. There is too much going on. We continuously feel we cannot keep up. Myself included. Like, I feel so overwhelmed when I see notification on YouTube from all these people that I follow, and everybody posting videos out there all the time, and I feel overwhelmed because I'm like, I don't have time to watch everything and do everything and know about everything. But do we need to? Do we need to know everything and do everything and hear about everything? It's again this FOMO. And who creates it? And who is the one to decide what it is that we all have to know everything? So anyway, guys, I really want to wrap this up. I think I talked enough in another super long video, but I really feel that these lunations, especially this month, because we have 3 of them, are pivotal lunations in going forward. So pay attention. There are some very positive aspects. As I mentioned, we have the trine between Sun and Chiron today. We have the Venus conjunction to Sun tomorrow, and then we have the trine, second trine of the 3 between Venus and Chiron, both retrograde this time on Monday. So pay attention what is coming up for you, and preparing us for this new moon in Leo, where energy is being seeded. There is a point of conception, so we don't know, everything is kind of just in the dark. But just put your intentions going forward, and trust that you can do it, and you can. So anyway, guys, sending much love. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll hop on again soon. Bye.